My name is Billy Wack. I'm in the On the Mat studio, and I get the extreme privilege of introducing Mr. Danny Dominion.
Hey! All right. Hey! All right, good to see you, Danny. All right.
How are you?
Excellent.
Nice to see you.
Get your mic up. Trevor's gonna mic you up over here.
There we go.
I don't think that you and I have ever really been in the same. We've definitely never been on the same show. I think we've only been in the same building twice in our lives.
Yes, sir.
We have a lot of history, but we've never really.
Some good, some bad.
Sure.
Little poop talk here and there, I'd have to say, but I've got a lot of respect for a lot of the things you've done.
Thank you very much.
Hope to think likewise.
Absolutely.
Richard T, who's managed me a few times.
Yep.
Excellent job. Trevor Blanchard here helped train me back in Windy City about 14 years ago or so.
Yeah. I remember when you and Ace started. Ace came in first, and then you, and
I got a question.
A lot of changes.
When was Ace? Do you know when Ace's first match was? Do you know where it was?
Yes, I do.
Wheeling, I think.
And it was with Trevor.
Yeah, me and Ace teamed together against Mike Anthony and King Cobra, I think.
Was it was it at a brawl at the mall? Was it at Bremen Mall?
No.
No.
Wheeling High School. If it was Wheeling High School,
it was
they had
Wheeling
about
High School.
600-700 people there.
I thought I had Ace's first match ever
Good
on tape.
Going back in time, Danny Dominion, I got to ask you, you're a Chicago original. We've seen you wrestling around this area, all the different federations. As a kid, what got you into pro wrestling? What made you want to be a wrestler?
I was 6 years old, sitting on my granddaddy's lap. I lived with my grandpa, grandma, and my mother, and my sister. All of a sudden, a TV show came on, and I saw Hulk Hogan brother cutting a promo with Mean Gene Okerlund, right? You know, brother, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, right? And I see this big, huge blonde guy, and I said, God, please, one day, let me have arms that size, And from that day on, I did nothing but eat, sleep, and drink wrestling. From the time I was 7, 8 years old, I had a weight, equipment in my basement, blasted some Metallica or whatever was in it at the time, and I was downstairs in my basement an hour, 2 hours a day, which isn't good for 7-year-old kids, 8-year-old kids. It's counterproductive that much, but I was always hell bent.
Did you have the Hulk Hogan Hulkamania workout?
Actually, my cousin Dave did buy me that, but it was kind of like, I already had my dad, who is deceased, who was gone before I was born, got killed on his Harley. But I had all of his old weights, and so what I did was I scrubbed them down with the SOS pads, got the rust off of them, and I used my old man's equipment to motivate me.
Right on.
Wow.
And and from the time then on, when I was 15, I joined Bally's, which I kind of had to slide in a little underage. Took a bus and a train and another bus to Bally's after school, and I dedicated myself to the craft. Watched the best in the business: the Arn Andersons, the Flairs, the Steamboats, the Steve Austins. When he was Stunning Steve, you name it. That's what really put me here. The Road Warriors were gods to me. And thank God that I got to meet the Road Warriors at one point in time in my life. And actually, I'm still friends with Road Warrior Animal and was very close with Hawk before he died. And Hawk really, really enlightened me in many ways. And thank God, thank Hawk, and I know he's in a better place.
So, Danny, what are you doing now? Like, what are you doing now? What's on the horizon for
right
Danny?
Now, what I'm doing is there's many things happening. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I don't want to waste too much time on TV. The important thing is right now I've kind of come out of my wrestling death, what a lot of the old school guys call it. I was basically out of the business for the most part of a good 3 years now. I've kind of done a little here or there. I tagged for WZZ or whatever is the Turbos promotion.
Correct.
When I tagged with Animal, which was a dream of mine, and had a great match with the two bald kids, thin. One of them
Zero and
yes,
Void Effect.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
I had an excellent match with them.
Sure.
And basically, I had a sour taste in my mouth because of doing so much with WWE, and them telling me, egging me on, and then all of a sudden WCW got bought out. Now there's this big influx of wrestlers, jacked up wrestlers, mind you, that are looking for jobs that are signed. Well, where does that leave a guy like myself? So, worst comes to worst, I get out for a while. Now, I'm out of the coma. I'm pretty much clear to start training. I got to go light and work my way up. I'm 32 years old, still feel great. Still play ball with my kid.
32 years young.
Thank you.
Young. Plus, but right now on the horizon is I'm in the middle of closing on a new school. which is going to be in the O'Hare area. It's going to be a school that is not just a place where any guy can come in and train. I'm scouting guys out of Northwestern University, athletes, wrestlers, football players, guys with personality. I'm looking at everything from all points of view.
Excuse me, I have to ask you then. So you're opening up your own training center?
Yes, sir. It's going to be my training center and my training center only. It's going to be under me, and I'm looking for a few people to help advise me with some creative, some creativity.
Wow.
And I'm also looking at kind of hybriding a little bit of MMA stuff in it with a few people that I've been talking to out of Vegas. So this is going to be happening within the next month or so.
Do you have a contact or an email address that
Sure, you
Nick
can
put on
contact me. You can
graphic?
contact me at very easily at Danny Dominion, all one word, DANNY DOMINION at hotmail.com. I'm going to have a website up very, very soon, probably within the next week. I'll let you guys know that. Besides that, I'm working with NWA Midwest, where I'm helping book and do a few other things. I'm also helping new talent kind of put the icing on the cake, and I'm going to be kind of like the third Freebird. I'll be working a few matches here and there, and I'm putting a little coup together. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. I'm really pumped up about the school. And I just want dedicated guys. I don't want a bunch of guys that are going to come around, hang out, smoke a cigarette, and talk about what happened on Raw. Listen, I don't have time for that crap. If you want to get in and train, great. If you want the icing on the cake, great. If you want some connections and you want to move along in the business, it's something I have a lot of people that can help me do that. Me, personally, going to a big promotion, I have an 8-year-old son. I can't be traveling 5-6 days a week. I like to have something here established, possibly have it grow into a promotion, and maybe even some kind of a developmental territory for WWE.
It's what Chicago should be. Chicago
Japan,
should be a developmental territory.
Maybe a dojo for Japan. Maybe, hell, have everybody combine and pick guys out of here and get a percentage, work something out contract-wise. Because, hey, nothing's for free in this world. I'm sorry, I've given away enough of stuff as it is, as Billy knows. But got a lot of established talent, and that's one thing. If I could finish up on here with this part of the interview, is Brad Bradley is in Mid-South, who is the champion right now. Mm-hmm. He's being brought up soon, I'm sure, to WWE's one of their brands. You got CM Punk in ECW. Mm-hmm. You got Colt Cabana, who's doing an excellent job all over the course of internationally. You got a lot of other guys that are working really hard too, that are doing well. Eric Priest and many others.
And it's funny that you say CM Punk. How did that end for you with CM Punk? I mean,
all right.
I imagine was it more friendly than perhaps my relationship with him?
I really don't know what happened with you two guys.
He never threw a chair at you, did he?
Oh, well, that was in the ring is in the ring. Although there was a lot more to it in the ring.
Did he ever spit in your face?
Not that I recall.
Yeah, he spit in my face.
And the thing was, that's a very uncouth thing to do. If a human being doesn't need to do something like that. To me, it's childish. And
what?
And it's funny because he's egged on fights with other people and got his butt handed to him.
Really?
So, oh yeah.
Did he ever do the thing where because he would challenge somebody to a fight and then somebody would come at him and then he would just lock his arms behind his back and then just kind of look at him like, I'm not going to fight you. Did you ever do that?
I've never.
Because you can't hit a guy that puts his arms behind his back.
I've never seen it, but I like his persona. But the Muay Thai and all this kickboxing and all this other stuff that he's been supposedly trained in, I have no idea about that. But
getting some
Excuse me, guys. I think we have a question from a fan.
We actually have what's your name?
Francisco.
Francisco, thanks for coming on the Mat TV taping. Got a question for Danny Dominion, Billy Wack, or Richard T?
I was just, as a matter of fact, you guys were talking about CM Punk and how he's being used. I was just wondering if there was any different technique you would use as far as, let's say if you were up into WWE creative, if there was any different things you would do with either Punk's character or his booking or anything like that.
Well, I don't know, but what I think is they're doing a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. Acting as if he is somewhat of a shoot type MMA fighter is going to bury him at some point in time because he's not. He knows how to apply some holds. You can get Bas Rutten's Lethal Fighting CD and learn it in 45 minutes, what he knows, and apply it in the ring. And then what happens when you get a legitimate shoot fighter in there with him?
Otherwise,
sooner or later, it's going to bury him.
Otherwise, I think from a character standpoint, they're doing just fine.
Yes,
and they're doing it right. They're doing it like classic. They're doing it like he beats a guy, he beats a guy. He's actually legitimately working his way through the rankings, and I'm tuning in every week just to see what they're going to do next. I'm like caught up in that old school.
DVDR. I check it out, and it's not bad.
Great stuff. All right, tonight.
Francisco, thanks for the question.
Thanks, Francisco.
Thanks, France.
All right. Pro Wrestling Iron, we have got a Danny Dominion exclusive right here tonight on the mat. We are going to see Ace Steele and you, sir, Danny Dominion, taking on Tommy Drake and Bison Smith. We heard about Bison Smith a few weeks back when Keith Venom was it. Keith Walker was
who came back from Japan, talking about that long flight, Billy Wack. You remember that?
I remember that. It's fascinating.
Good stuff. Pro Wrestling Iron running out of San Francisco. Danny, Nicholas H. always likes to ask the question, what do you notice? You've worked all over the country. What do you notice when you come back, the world even? What do you notice when you come back to Chicago? How could you compare and contrast federations around the world as compared to what's going on here in the Chi-Town?
Well, you know what? I think the Midwest has upped it a bit. There's still a lot of riffraff garbage, in my opinion, that is here and there, but I'm not going to talk about that. But guys have upped it a little bit. You know, AAW's got a good product. NWA Midwest has a good product. I really can't speak for many of the other promotions. I've seen some stuff, and I wasn't very impressed. But as far as independent-wise, throughout the country, Chicago, especially since the time we came about and did Steel Domain in Minneapolis and stuff, we rebuilt the Midwest as having guys that weren't just jabronis that were going to get their ass or butt kicked basically on WWE TV for $250. It was our school that put that on the map. And if you look back, you know, myself, Ace Steele, Kevin Quinn, who trained at the old Domain, Brad came out of there, Punk came out of there, Priest came out of there. I'm probably forgetting somebody else. You know, even Marco Cordova started with us right before we closed shop. Keith Venom was going to, but we had to close shop, so we sent them to Priest. So, you know, ever since then, we reestablished a core group of guys, and that's the most important thing, is there's power in numbers. One guy can't yell very loud, but 5 or 6 can. And that's what the people here don't get. That's what they don't get. But as for the independent state of the business here, I'd say it's above par from what I've seen everywhere. You know, not everywhere else, but in most places. Ring of Honor's great. Some of the stuff I like, some of it I can care less for. But you know, every one of us would do things a little bit differently. But you put a bunch of guys together, and you pick apart each other's ideas, splice them into one, you got a good product.
Hey.
Okay.
Sounds like a great plan, Trevor.
Well, with that, I think we should go to his match with Ace Steele from San Francisco. Pro Wrestling Iron out of San Francisco.
All right. Danny Dominion making his way out. They got some sort of ropes around you, a picture frame. This is suitable for framing.
Yeah, that was the old picture frame gimmick I brought out for one night. They liked it, so they asked me to do it. So I said, not a problem. At this point in time, me and Ace had a little bit of heat when we closed the Domain over some...
What did it consist of, Danny?
Basically,
you guys are in the heat right now, you're saying?
We didn't talk much at all. He took a different flight, and basically we got in there. We looked good together, and in my opinion, we could have done a lot more, but you'll see. The heat had a lot to do with CM Punk, and that's all. That CM Punk and a little bit to do with the Dara James. It wasn't anything weird like that. It was just people not liking the fact that me and her were going our separate ways and trying to do our own thing. Everybody else had an avenue in which to go to. They all knew how to get to the promoters. They all had their contacts. It was time for everybody to split off and do their thing and make it in the business.
Wow, that's fascinating because from the time that CM Punk left our camp to go with you, we always figured you had some kind of brainwashing thing over him. So it was just interesting to hear that, that you guys had heat with him too.
Well, no, Ace didn't want CM Punk at the gym at all. He told me no.
Why was that?
He said he didn't want an LWF guy in. I said, why not? You know what? Let's give him a chance. We got him in the ring. He was awkward. He was pear-shaped. I said, you know what? He's got something about him, and I think that could, that could work. So Same thing with Brad. Brad is a whole other story. Brad was my fire because of, I'm not going to say because it's a personal thing, but when him and his mother came in to join the camp, he was very, didn't have much self-esteem, and I don't like that. I like to bring people's self-esteem up. Actually,
Brad Bradley,
yeah. Yes, and it was my job to bring that kid's self-esteem up, and I knew he was going to be a killer at one time. You'll see if you guys get some tapes of him. You'll see he is a killer.
We show him all the time, and he's really developed into something. So you had a big hand in bringing that guy up.
Brad was my kid.
How about that? All right, look at this. It's shot nice. It looks good. This is actually emanating from San Francisco.
700 people here. And there was also representatives from I forgot, Misawa and someone else wrestled right after us.
That's Bison Smith in there, right, Danny?
Yes, it's Bison Smith and Tommy Drake.
This is actually, I think, the first time we've ever seen Bison Smith. Is that correct?
Yeah,
what's he like in the ring?
Saw him in those
Bison is an excellent wrestler, an excellent big man. Could work on the mat. Could put stuff in and not necessarily harm somebody. But if he wanted to, he certainly could. One of the nicest guys in the business, has his low key, who you guys showed earlier.
Right.
And Tommy Drake, just pretty good work.
And boy, look at you two, just kind of kicking back on the top turnbuckle.
Yeah, that was an old thing I used to do all the time, and we just incorporated it a lot.
So, we're sitting here, we're doing the commentary, we're still in the studio, we're under these lights, it's 300 degrees, and all I'm thinking of is how hot it is. I can feel the heat.
It was hot in there, man.
And speaking of heat, who do you currently have heat with, Danny? Everybody's got heat with somebody, and everybody tries to PR it over, but you can't. You're sitting here on the mat. Who's just pissed you off to the point where you got to say something about it now?
Well, lately, I love Ace to death, so there's no heat there. If he called me and there were 10 people chasing after him with bats, I'd drop everything to do whatever I could. I love Ace. Ace doesn't talk to me anymore. We grew up and went to high school together. It's a shame, but that's life.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that.
To this day, I really don't know exactly what the deal is. I really don't. If someone told me, it'd be nice, but I've been written off to him, so that's fine. That's not a big deal. CM Punk, whatever. I don't care. I hope he succeeds. I hope he does well, but I hope his attitude gets better. Otherwise, someone's going to beat the living hell out of him in one of those respective promotions. I can tell you that right now.
What's CM Punk's attitude that you're talking about? I mean, was he disrespectful?
CM Punk is CM Punk, and that's it. There's no more Phil Brooks. He's dead.
He is. We've all said it. And
now let me show you guys something. Now I was pretty jacked up here. Obviously, I'm covering myself. I don't want the ref checking that area of me. But at this point in time, I was about not as lean as I wanted to be, but I was about 230. Bison, I think, is a good 265. But we decided to try to go a little toe to toe. He said he thought it would look good, and I wasn't sure. But you guys will see from the match how it went. I think it went pretty well. Maybe you guys can give me your opinions. But as of heat, I don't really have heat with anybody. I'm a little bit upset with a trainer from the area. Some of his posts lately, he's a good friend or an old friend, but we've had the heat before. But Rockin Randy has basically started really just putting out the names. Jeff Jarrett, this guy, that guy, Jerry Lawler. I talk to these guys on a daily basis. Who cares when you talk to on a daily basis? I don't care. You know what? It's almost like he's reaching for something to show. He's trained one guy who's gotten to New York, and all he does is blast off about it. The guy trained with him for 2 months. Randy's a good trainer. But you know what? Why is it that the first thing when you click onto his website, the first thing you see is tapes of the first matches of Brad Bradley, CM Punk, Colt
Cabana. That gets me so angry. Oh my God, I got to tell you.
I mean, does it not seem like he's trying to portray that he trained them?
We got in this whole argument on the boards about it, and your Fed was crap. Randy, we were drawing 700, 800 people for like almost a year.
So you were doing something right.
Something. Maybe you didn't like it, Randy, but that doesn't mean that it didn't exist. Wake up and smell the 2006. It's history to all of us, but get your history in proper chronological order.
Don't get me wrong. Randy is a good trainer. He's a good guy to know in the business, and a lot of people know him. But I'm sorry, but when it comes to training in the Midwest, there's nobody that's going to be able to train better than myself at the time. Myself, Ace, and Kevin Quinn. There's just absolutely no way. And I think we proved that in the short amount of time that we had the gym. We produced more talent per capita than anybody else.
And can you go over some of those for us again,
Danny?
Danny?
Cabana was one of them.
Lita sleeping on the couch or something there?
Oh yeah,
Lita
Lita was there for 10 days, 11 days. She didn't have a penny. I let her sleep on the couch. There was a shower there, and then she puts a little blurb in her book that our place was, in this horrible part of the town, and she couldn't go out, and how crappy it was. When she never paid me a dime to even be there, and I never asked her. She was a friend. It was a friend of Kevin Quinn, and to this day, we were friends, but I haven't talked to her in about 2 years. I don't know why.
And who was that, Danny?
Lita.
Lita.
Oh, Lita.
And but yeah, same thing with CM Punk. He still never finished paying his training fees, but whatever.
Who is the person that went to WWE through Randy?
Casey James. I've never even seen him on TV.
All I know is Randy posted something a couple weeks back about how you don't have a chance because the WWE guys, they call me whenever they're in town.
That's not. You know what?
And I'm thinking, if I wanted to get a job in creative, do I got to be on your good side, Randy?
No, there's other routes you can go. WWE was calling me even after a year of being on a sabbatical, asking me to do shows or bring guys in. Ken Kennedy called me to get guys in, and I referred him to Priest. You know what? Yeah, Randy still talks to him. He's still trying to, get his way in, and he is in with those guys.
He just didn't have to be like
Randy he still has the
80s
80s mentality, which is great, but he needs to update it a little bit. And the thing on his website, you know what? He wants to make $20 a video. That's fine. I'm not going to complain about it. I don't own the rights to him anyway. But to me, it just seems a little skittish to have that first thing come up on your website when those are guys.
And it's not correct. It's just not correct.
Well, that's how I saw it, but I didn't say nothing online. But as I keep seeing the silliness, it's getting more and more aggravating.
I personally think that if
Ace is excellent ring worker. Ace is an excellent mat wrestler.
Yeah. I personally think, Danny, that if somebody trains somebody and they make it, you would think the person that actually made it would say, hey, you know what, I would owe Danny Dominion this, or I would owe Billy Wagg for getting me to this position, or you know what I'm saying? They would make it a point to put your name out there as opposed to putting it on a website.
Human people would.
Most of my guys do. Punk's one of the ones that does, and I don't care because I'd rather not be associated with him anyway because he's already got a bad rep, so that's fine. I could care less. Because Brad Bradley within the next 2 months is going to way surpass him. I can guarantee you that.
Really?
Oh yes.
Wow.
Yes. Keith Walker's another guy. I didn't train him. I helped him out a lot. I've coached him with things. I've helped him out with different things. When it comes to icing on the cake, as Priest did a lot too. Keith is the next good possible prospect. But yeah, everyone, even like Sonny Rogers helped train me. He did a great job. Sam did a little bit in the ring with me. Trevor, a lot of the guys at Windy City helped out. We always got in and rolled around. We stayed after practice and stayed and used our ring time. And that's what made us what we are today. The ring sucked. It was a boxing ring. We were hurting every day. But
wait, at Sonny's?
No, at Sam's old school.
Oh, okay.
On the northwest side.
Sonny's was a joke, that place. I'm sorry. It was at least a place to train, but it was fall out the window if you hit the ropes.
Yeah.
Fall out 6 feet. Now Bison here is going to go toe-to-toe with Ace. I don't know how well that's going to go. Ace is in great shape, but at this point in time, we're getting a lot of heat. Bison's a hometown boy.
Here comes the big man, Bison Smith. Down goes Ace Steele. Look at this.
The guy that I had mentioned to you earlier, Danny, about Mike Land, that's him in the blue shirt.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, supposedly we had pictures all over the magazines in Japan. This was on Noah TV as a semi-main. See, here I'm still trying to kind of play off a little bit of comedy. Get a little comedy in there, get a little silliness, get the crowd, get the crowd involved. I always do that on the corner. I love tag wrestling. It's so much more fun. In a rest hold, that's where it's time for the guys on the apron to get the people moving and screaming and yelling and waiting for something.
Bison Smith, big elbow.
Pretty big crack. Yeah, Bison gave me a good crack there, but you know what? At this point in time, there we go.
Here we go. We're back.
A little time delay there.
Danny's tagged in.
Classic flip. I haven't done that and won't try it again for a while.
Physically, how do you feel now, Danny?
I'm getting better. My hip's still a little bit screwed up. It always will be, but I don't like to cry about my injuries.
Do you have to have any surgeries or anything while you were out?
No surgeries. Active release therapy, chiropractic adjustments, naturopaths, just a bunch of physical therapy, just stuff like that. But at one point in time, I kind of stopped and screwed me up. This time of the year, my joints hurt me a little bit more, my left hip and my right shoulder. But other than that, as long as I'm stretching and doing my thing, getting in the gym, I'm usually pretty good.
Looks like a pretty good clothesline from Bison to Danny.
Yeah, Bison knows what he's doing.
Was this the last time you worked with Ace?
This was the last tag match. We had a singles match for NWA Midwest that was supposed to be a big heated match, and Ace wasn't too hot, about doing much, and so we just kind of winged it. I got pissed here and jacked Bison off the top rope, and this is where things get a little bit more brutal,
really,
so to speak.
Was he was upset?
What, Bison? No, not at all. Bison to this day, when he was up in Noah last show, was talking to Keith Walker about how great of a match this was and how he would, wish I'd get back in and come do some stuff with him. So,
we ought to go. You and I ought to go to ECW. I'll be your manager. We'll go right after. CM Punk. I'm just sitting there stewing about it, thinking about it. We make a great team.
Be excellent.
That would be good.
Take the big man over the top.
Man,
how many people were there?
I think there were about 650 people or 750 people. If I don't. It was funny because after this match, there was 2 more matches, and one of them was Misawa versus Mike Justice, and people started leaving. I think it was a main event, which it was a lot of fun. We paced it well. It went a little over 12, I think, and it starts to get a little bit crazy here, and then we start going into.
You mentioned the world earlier, Danny. You've wrestled overseas.
Yes, Australia for McManus WWA, where Bret Hart, Jeff Jarrett, Bagwell, Road Dogg, Conan, Psychosis, my girl Adara wrestled too. I'm trying to think of who I'm forgetting. There were a lot of people. Not Booker T. Steve
was
Ray.
it Luger on that tour?
No, Luger was supposed to be, but I don't know. He flaked out or something. It was a classic Ace tag-in move. But that was a fun tour up until about the end of it when I broke a rib, the match before the last show. And it was really, breaking a rib, there's not much more, you're not going to get into much more pain than that.
Bison Smith gets that boot up. He's in the wrong part of town, but manages to capitalize. Here he goes, the big man. Down goes Ace Steele. He's got a claw.
Yeah, he's got the claw.
He's got the claw on Danny Dominion.
That's a claw.
Yeah, the claw. I look back at the claw and I kind of giggle, but
he's got it cinched on there, Danny.
I've been in a claw before. It's no fun.
Double claw. Look at this. Bison Smith. Ooh, double noggin knocker. There they go.
This looked pretty good.
Oh, my God.
People inside the building, it just sounded crazy. But like I said, it was a good time. It was a good match, and it's good to see a guy that you guys might not be familiar with.
It's good to have a quality match on the mat.
Yes, it is. This is good stuff. Thanks for bringing it, Danny.
It's not very often that you see an independent match where you have guys that actually look like they come out of they'd come out of the WWE.
They look like a guy who might inspire some kid in the audience.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. And it's all about working hard and not sitting at home and playing PlayStation all day. And if you want to be a wrestler, you got to train. You got to eat, sleep, and drink the business.
But you do play PlayStation occasionally.
Oh yeah, my kid won't let me. Now the new Lego Star Wars came out. And I hate it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, it's so good.
I don't know. There's joysticks and stuff. I don't know what to do with that stuff.
It's tricky stuff.
At this point in time, Bison's he's about ready to finish Ace off. He's tired of working here. He wants to kill him. At this point in time, I don't know why the babyface was trying to bring me into the ring and do a double team. That when we never did it before in the match, that kind of confused me. But
what is the ref doing? He's confused.
Well, yeah, a lot of people are confused.
Tommy Drake with the big slam on Ace Steele.
Knee to the chest. Danny's coming in to break up that count. How was Tommy in the ring?
Tommy was a good hand.
Is he still in?
Green? I don't know what Tommy's doing right now. I haven't kept in contact with that many of those guys from the West Coast. Bison's doing IWA Puerto Rico. Noah, otherwise he's sitting on the beach drinking margaritas and getting tan, making really good money. I know WWE is interested in him, but hey, why not work 20 weeks a year, 30 weeks a year, and have the other 20 weeks off?
Sure.
He could walk away and get a contract with WWE at any point in time, and not get one of these measly 500 or 750 a week developmental deals. He'll get brought right on the road. So he's how could you say, he's stringing it along, Now Ace, I know he worked the last Noah show. I don't know what he's been up to otherwise, if he's going to be doing a lot more.
I had heard that Ace is still working with Harley.
This is great right here. This is an excellent Ace Steele.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That is one of the best finishing moves, I think, in the business.
Ace Steele runs over there and knocks down Bison Smith. Only gets a 2.
Ace is just an excellent wrestler. Very good at making things look right when they're not. Ace taught me a lot because he started off about 9 months before I did. Same thing with Trevor. Trevor helped Ace out. And then I came into my own at one point in time and got myself in the shape that I needed to be in to try to make a name for myself in the business.
You got to make and I've said it before, but you've got to make a Chicago wrestling, like a family tree, like a timeline, like who did what, where this guy.
Everything. The funny thing is everything kind of comes back to a lot of us. You go from the domain, and even the guys that started before us, and you do a timeline, and everybody somehow, it's like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon at this point in time. See, the smart thing that Punk did is he went to Ring of Honor, and before that, when we were doing Steele and Lane, and had a 1-hour broadcast TV show, what he did was he watched me and what I did behind the scenes, and learned the politicking. He took that to Ring of Honor, and bingo. Punk is a huge reason why Ring of Honor is why it is what it is today.
He took a little something from everybody.
Yes, you're right.
He's I call him the Serpentor of pro wrestling. Anybody that knows what that is, you'll get the joke.
No, can you describe it for us? The Serpentor?
Sure, the Serpentor. You see, it's a G.I. Joe reference. There's Cobra Commander. He was the leader of the Cobras, right?
Sure.
That's the end. Oh,
almost.
They try to oust Cobra Commander, so what they do is the people, they go behind his back and they take the DNA from Rasputin and Hannibal and like Genghis Khan and like all these bad guys out of history, and they make a guy, and they make Serpentor, and he's like the evil bad guy, and he has all the DNA from all the bad guys throughout history.
Ace Steele gives Drake a little taste of his boot, or what's on the bottom of it right here.
Well, you got him all set up. He's spread-eagled in the corner.
Grab his head, cock it back here, and let Ace kick him right in the mouth.
Oh, man! Look at that! This could be it. Bison Smith doesn't know what's going on. He's been over there on the other side of the corner. Here we go.
We're getting some heat from the crowd here, which is like what our jobs was. I wasn't wrestling for the Japanese promoters in the back. I was basically wrestling for the crowd. Whereas, a lot of guys, a guy like Terry Taylor's in town, or a guy like this or that, they're going to be wrestling to try to get over with them in order to get a job. I was going out there to have a good time.
Billy Weck, you had mentioned about doing that tree or whatever, and you would have to probably go, and correct me if I'm wrong, Danny, you probably have to go all the way back to Sam to kind of start where it would start, and I honestly don't think he would want to be involved in that, just due to the fact that there's guys like the Untouchables and the Dream Warriors that really don't want to have anything to do with Sam, and
well,
there's other people that Sam doesn't want.
You're speaking about Sam DeCero, so
Yes,
the
sir.
fans at home know.
I have no problem with Sam DeCero. Sam got in the ring with me maybe a handful of times. Otherwise, it was Sonny. Basically, what happened was a handful of us basically just got in the ring and learned. We learned some of the basics. You go to Windy City to learn some basics, and then you move on. Plain and simple. If you're in Windy City for more than 4 or 5 years, then you're an idiot. That's it. You move on. You tread different territories. You get your name out. You learn how to promote yourself. Sam's inside, outside looking in theory is a brainwashing theory, so that other people that have talent don't go other places, so that you can have them for yourself.
You remember that? We're just around the corner or whatever.
This really hurt. Yeah.
You remember that, Danny?
What?
Some of the meetings that we're just around the corner or whatever.
Oh yeah.
What was that? What is that?
The financial.
Yeah.
We're just about over the hill.
Well, the problem is after the first few years we were wrestling every weekend, then all of a sudden it was once a month if we were lucky, and then we couldn't wrestle for any other promotions. At that point in time, I'm like, listen, I need to get out in front of a live audience, and if you're not going to let me wrestle somewhere, I'm going to do it anyway. You tell me I can't come here anymore, whatever. I don't care. Didn't make much of a difference. So I left. I did my job at the Battle of the Belts to Turbo. For the league champion that was built for Mike Anthony because he outgrew the lightweight championship, so they didn't make him one. So I took that belt and made it the #1 title because it was a league belt. There were no weight classes involved in it.
Whoa.
No weight classes. So Samson took a back seat to me because he was heavyweight. You could only work heavyweight wrestlers. I could fight anybody anytime. So I think that kind of nipped Samson in the butt, but he liked it too after some time, and that was leading up to that, but that's when I left Windy City Wrestling.
Wow, excellent Windy City and just Chicago wrestling history right here tonight from Danny Dominion.
Because I never knew anything about it. There was by the time we started, there was PWI and Windy City, and we didn't emulate or go to any of the shows. We didn't really know anything about any of them, so it's good to hear.
They really weren't missing. I mean, Windy City had some good stuff. PWI had some decent stuff, but then I don't know who was the ones that merged from PWI.
That was
CCW?
They became
Pro
PCW?
Championship. Pro Championship wrestling.
You had Fireman Jim who did nothing but sit around the ring and smoke for years. You had Rick Knight that was worthless, except for when he first started. These guys weren't training people; they were just hanging out. You want to hang out, go to a bar and have a couple beers and a cigarette or whatever. I mean, if you're going to get in the ring, get in the ring. And all these branches have come about in this business, and that's why I get so bitter about guys running shows. And then when it comes down to going to a building and run a really good quality show, people are like, oh, we had that here before.
Right. I say it every week.
And then there you go. You need a production. You need to have some production because that's what people want. They want something larger than life. You can have your light guys, your small guys, but you need to have a few guys that look the role, that look when they walk into that building, hey, that guy is a professional wrestler.
I agree with you.
I don't say you need a bunch of jacked up, roided up guys. It's not necessary, but you need guys that are in shape. Oh, Ace, for God's sakes. Come on, man. How many times has he done that to me? Uh-oh. I smell a hot Tad coming up.
Bison trying to...
Bison, if I believe correctly, his knee was a little bit screwed up here, too, but the fans were really hot to get him in there. I was really hot to get the heck out of the ring because I was pretty tired. I don't like wrestling more than 15 minutes. I think you should be able to tell a story in 15 minutes and have a good match. And these 60-minute jerk sessions or 90-minute jerk sessions that we've heard so much about, some of them are cool once in a while, but a lot of times it's just to be able to say, look what I did. It's like, come on. When you walk out of that building, 99% of the rest of the world doesn't know who you are. I got a little screwed up there, but Bison covered that up, and I think he's ready to give Ace a taste of his own medicine.
Look at the claw.
The claw again, yes.
Got it on.
Probably one of the top 5 hokiest moves in the business.
What is your top 5 hokey maneuvers?
You know what? I really hate that Petey Williams pile driver. I'm sorry, it looks cool and all, but the first time I saw it, I didn't know who it hurt more.
No.
Petey Williams or the guy he gave it to. It looks like the guy went for a sunset flip and Petey just fell in the back of his head. Petey's a hell of a worker, but I just didn't get it. I don't get the move. Some of the stuff these guys do.
That's an interesting take on that maneuver because I think it looks devastating.
It does, but it looks devastating to both guys.
Yeah,
it looks like both guys are getting hurt.
I never thought of it that way. Yeah, you're right.
You know, maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe I'm still a little bit stuck back in the, you know, year 2000 or whatever. But Petey can go. He's a horse.
Hey, Danny, just to kind of clarify, so I understand what you were saying about PCW and Jimmy, Firefighter Jim, and Rick Knight, but I don't know if you know, but I do work with CCW, and Jimmy has changed a lot. Yes, he does still smoke. I don't think that's ever going to stop.
I never started smoking until I was 28, 29 years old, so I can't, you know.
But you know what? The guys that him and Dave Storm have actually trained, they really have a lot of talent.
Well, we all grow in age and wisdom, and I could assume that, you know, if I talked to somebody like him, I would probably see that. I'm just saying from the days way back.
No, I understand.
But you know,
but you know what? Rick Knight, I think, is still the same way.
Yeah. But Jimmy Blaze has always been a nice guy, and you know. But other than that, it's just so many guys call themselves trainers when they're not qualified to basically wrestle a match on, you know,
look at that.
Live TV.
Isn't that a form of the Styles Clash or something?
Yeah,
that's it.
He did it before Styles, if I believe so.
Yeah.
Big pin by Bison Smith.
Bison
Smith and Tommy Drake, your winners over Steele and Danny.
Again. You know, I get him next time seems to be all the time with me. You know, I just lost to Priest and McClure with Lynch, tagging with Lynch the other night.
All right, wrestling fans, Richard T. Sin here. Thank you for joining us. My colleagues, Trevor Blanchard, Billy Wack, and our first inaugural guest at the live studio taping, Danny Dominion. Thank you very much for joining us, Danny.
Thank you, sir. It was great being here, guys.
Danny, two quick questions. What are your feelings on organized religion? And do you think Magic Johnson has the HIV virus?
No.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Although I do believe in my own Christian things, but organized, nah.
Whatever.
I guess with that.
Say what I wanted to hear about Magic Johnson. Right on, man.
All right, wrestling fans, we'll see you next week right here on the Mat.